This is public comment for items not on the agenda. So basically, the only item on the agenda is the Oceanfront Walk Public Safety Assessment, which was addressed at the Town Hall, which will be the entire topic of discussion for this joint committee meeting. So now is an opportunity for public comment about anything other than this needs assessment. Any public comments?
Are you asking for public comment now?
All right.
Anything not on the agenda?
Only if it's not about the public safety.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go quickie, which is December 6th, Friday, first Friday, we're going to light the Venice sign and holiday colors. So let's see it, second annual sign.
December 6th, be there, be square. We'll have Daniel Soundcow in attendance. Danny will be
From the
there.
Venice sign.
What time?
Does it change?
Awesome, thank you. Okay, public comment,
It will start
Linda?
at 2 and the sign will light around 6:30
What day?
on Friday, the first Friday of
Hi, I have a public comment to make. I wanted to remind everyone that November 19th is our next board meeting, but December 7th is the Great Venice Toy Drive, and it started on November 1st, and so we're collecting toys for kids, new, non-violent toys, in a bunch of locations all over Venice, and I'm trying to remember where. Abbott's Habit, Bank of Venice, Library, board meeting on the 19th, Farmers Market. You can get a brand new, non-violent toy and we're going to give them away to the kids here at Open Rec Center on December 7th. Santa Claus is going to be here. Snow is going to be here.
Is Ivan Santa Claus?
And, well, I'm not telling you Santa Claus is Santa Claus. And we also have a lot of books. Every kid gets a toy and books that are given to us by the library, and it's awesome. So please come volunteer. We're looking for volunteers. That's my announcement.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty here. So this meeting is going to be in two parts. Part one is going to be the Venice Beach Public Safety Needs Assessment as it is written, and with opportunity for public comment, which can include, I like this, but I think it should be changed to XYZ. And we will talk about that as we go. The second part of the meeting is going to be everything relating to public safety on Venice Beach that is not in the assessment. So again, part one is the items that are in the assessment, which are 5 items, which will become very clear. Does anybody not have a copy? Has anybody not read it? They're here on the table for you because we're going to go through it line by line. So as I mentioned earlier, because we have 3 committees with 3 quorums, Gail and Therese will be voting twice on each item, which are 5 items within the assessment, and then another possible 5 items that are not in the assessment. So with that, let's move forward with the. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the assessment as it is written with comment and discussion. So can I get a second on that motion?
I second.
Okay, good. So here we go. So the first item really begins on page 2. Page 1 discusses who's involved, how it came to pass, which agencies are involved. Page 2 gets into the meat of it, which is the emergency access locations and recommended treatment. So the first recommended treatment is automated retractable bollard system. And I'm going to read what I've highlighted as the sort of important points, and if anybody thinks I've missed anything, they can talk about it in public comment, or the board can discuss. So the automated retractable bollard system allows bollards to be lowered and raised automatically via remote or key. The speed and ease of the operation of this system is critical to effective emergency vehicle response while creating a physical barrier that allows easy passage of the pedestrians but would prevent unauthorized vehicles. This type of system would be recommended to be installed at Oceanfront Walk at Navy, Windward, 17th, North Venice, and South Venice. It's these locations that vehicular traffic crosses the boardwalk for public parking and maintenance access. The following paragraph contains the language, concerns around the automated retractable bollard system would be in the ongoing maintenance of the system, given that it is proposed to be located in such a corrosive environment. The details of installing an automated retractable bollard system include issues such as running electrical power to each location, obtaining power to each location that could be very costly and could have unknown financial impacts on the overall installation costs. Moving on, it says the estimate for installation of automated retractable bollard systems at 5 locations is approximately $1.2 million. So that is the first item of discussion. So I'd like to open that up for public comment. I'd like you to limit your public comment to 60 seconds. And I would like you to talk about, you can either say, love it, hate it, or I would add or change this to it in your public comment. Okay?
Nobody?
Any public comments? Good. You can stand, please. And tell us your-
My name is Deborah LeChevre, and one thing is, do we really need this? There was one incident which was tragic, totally tragic. I mean, do we really need to spend all this money? There are a lot of problems that we could solve with that money, with $1.2 million in funds that are real problems. I don't know if this is worth the money, and like you said, the maintenance and the, the corrosive environment and all that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jesus.
I agree and rise in support of what she just said. It seems, first off, these
What's your name?
people of Venice. The first time you hit one of these things with your hip while walking down the street, you will find yourself wondering why these were put in there. These things don't move. That's why they're put there. And usually they're filled with cement, but in this case they'll be retractable. But they will be made out of metal. This will not be a comfortable thing, and people are walking through here in a crowd. What happens when there's a stampede and people are pushed through these things? So I think this is really a stupid idea, a huge waste of money. It could be better spent if you're trying to, take care of the place. Work on some of the landscaping issues. There's all sorts of things you can do with that money in the neighborhood. And the reality is that there's nothing that would stop these bollards from someone on a motorcycle going through with a samurai sword. I mean, the reality is that one person committing an act of, aggravated terror against the community is not cause for changing everything we do.
Public comment. Automated bollards.
Are we allowed to speak now?
No, you're going to move on. Okay, if that closes public comment, we're going to go through item by item and vote on these. So each of the 3 committees.
For comment.
Right. That's correct. Yeah, so we're going to vote on just this first item, which is the automated bollards.
Can I say something real quick?
Say it again.
Where's the person that committed the crime?
In jail.
Has anyone talked to him?
He's in jail.
I just wondered.
Well, I think-
Where is he? What's up
Where
with
is
him?
it? What about the person who committed the crime?
He's being held in traffic.
That's really your question. I don't know. Right now, the discussion is automated bollards. So. Okay, so we can go down the line with starting with Gail.
Okay, I agree with both speakers. My sentiments exactly. I've lived here for about 40 years. I don't think about we're just surrounded massive island. I don't think about cars coming through. And at the town hall, someone, maybe because I think I'm out there almost every day, but someone said, oh, it's a daily occurrence that a tourist drives on the boardwalk. First of all, in my 40 years, I only go out maybe for an hour a day. I've seen maybe it happened 5 times. And it's always funny. It's like, you're not supposed to do this, and then, oops, but there was just the shooting at LAX, and they're all saying, the experts are saying, no, we don't have, it's fine what we're doing. you know, they want to give guns to the TSA agents, and they're talking about that as being an overreaction too. These are just random acts. I don't know if you remember Santa Barbara many years ago, a young guy drove down Isla Vista, you know, injuring people. I don't know if you remember. Just, you know, so as I walk, as I said, I don't think about a car coming and killing. And I'll now am I allowed to put in my little anti-bicycle thing now? Sure.
Well, no, this is automated bollards.
Oh, okay,
We'll have a
okay.
chance for
All right.
bicycles.
All right,
This is
so I agree
automated
with
bollard
that.
discussion only. please.
Okay, and the cost is 1,200,000. That's ridiculous.
You have a comment?
I just, I agree with everybody. I think the money is ridiculous. I think when they came up with this idea, it was a knee-jerk reaction to pacify the community and look like the officials were doing something so they didn't get sued, which they probably are anyways. It is ridiculous. Since they put up these fake or whatever, these retractable, whatever, these bendable things, I've seen them broken, so the cost that they've already put into this has been wasted. I've seen a motorcycle, since they went up, park across from the bistro on the boardwalk, drive down the boardwalk, probably 3 times every weekend. He's there to see, you know, Peace Frog playing, and you know, revving up the motorcycle. I've seen cars still coming on or trying to get on the boardwalk, so I think it's a waste.
Not in favor of automated bollards.
Not in favor of bollards, period, and I did see a car driver down the boardwalk after those temporary ones have been installed. I think they're off-putting, and personally, if I were a tourist and saw that, I'd wonder about the
Speak loud.
If I were a tourist and saw that, I'd wonder about the community, period. No, nothing. Opposed to it. Period.
I also don't necessarily think it's the best.
Tell me a bit louder.
Laura? The best, I don't necessarily think it's the best approach for this. I think it stops the exact same crime maybe from happening, but not any alternative with similar results. The other thing, can I ask a question? These normally come with very loud beeping sounds. No one seems to be doing that about that.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with being in environments where these are going up and down, and they come with very, very loud sounds. So that's something that I don't see in here that I would say is a little bit of a concern, especially when I see it on some of these, you know, on North Venice, and I'm thinking about walking and taking this kind of peaceful walk. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be happening all the time. It would be happening when a vehicle is moving, but I don't necessarily see anything about that in here. So, yeah, concern.
Absolutely against automated ballots.
Oh, and a fire.
They will break, they will not function at the wrong time. They're way too expensive, they're too unreliable, it's just a absolutely bad idea.
All right, LAFD.
No, well, I'm not speaking on behalf of the LAFD.
Individuals. But you've had high experience with these things, and you're talking.
Being in public safety and in firefighting, yes, I don't think it's necessarily a good idea.
I resonate with my esteemed colleagues on that. I don't think just the cost and the effectiveness things of these things make it a non-starter. So I would not recommend for the implementation of this.
So, this is several.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Gabe. Anyways, a few different things. One, I'm down on the boardwalk a lot because I have restaurants. I do see cars go onto the boardwalk at various times. It is an issue. It's not, this has all been brought up because of this one incident. and the city's trying to cover it as well. It is an opportunity for us to get money for the overall safety of our area. If we let this opportunity go, that money will disappear. That's number one. So we should not just say no. What we should do is, yes to this, but we want to bring in this, because otherwise the money's gone. Two, in terms of the ballards themselves, these are used on 3rd Street Promenade. They've been used for years. There's many people going through there. It's not a problem with people bumping that much. Because I go on 3rd Street Promenade, otherwise you would hear it. I think the bigger issue is the cost, and is this the best use of the money? There might be a better way to keep cars from going on there at different times. That's not, and I agree, it's a more corrosive area than 3rd Street Promenade. So the bigger issue for me is that this is really just to address an itch that came because of public outcry of this one incident. And it's a real itch. But there are other itches that need to, this is a totality of safety. I mean, for instance, we have issues with, let's say, people could come out with a gun. Maybe we need a better police presence that's more movable, like on segways, for instance, like they do in San Francisco. Maybe people leave bags. Now at LAX, nobody leaves a bag because, God forbid, it could be something bad. You can learn to do something on the internet that's very easy to explore. So we don't want to do something like that. Have something, God forbid, people are crazy. You don't want to have that here. There is a paid-for program to help take bags that are left unattended and store them so people can get them. That should be part of this also. So, so I would suggest that we wrap together, a group of solutions to utilize this money so that money doesn't disappear into the public office and we never see it again. And to address the various safety issues. For me, the 3 safety issues, like I said, I think this is an issue. It's not as desperate as I think the city's making it. But I think there is another issue of police presence, because I see all the time, I mean, literally, I'm walking down the street, saw people doing crystal meth on the boardwalk, on the street. I'm like, really? It's like, or maybe there was crack. I don't know the difference between the pipes. But it was like, it's like, okay, let's have police kind of watch what's going on. And the other thing is, like I said, unattended bags. Do I think they're going to be lost? No, but I don't want to be the guy who turns it down and then find out. We owe it to the people who visit here to keep the area safe. That's all I'm saying. These are guests to our area. It's our responsibility as the people letting them in here.
Bathrooms can help that.
Thank you,
We're not giving them bathrooms.
Well, that and may I just finish the
We're
second
only
thing
Guys, we're going to keep this moving because we got a big night, so thank you very much, Carlton.
Well, we recognize that now that the city is on notice, even though we have been telling them for the last 10 years that we have a problem down there and that people drive, and we really need to figure out a way to protect people from, and keep the cars, even if it's a, errant tourist going at 2 miles an hour, we really need to keep cars off there. So I think that we have to do something, and the city recognizes that now they're on notice, and this next time, the city will be liable, and it will cost them millions and millions of dollars in liability. Not to mention the fact that the second time, it's become a pattern and a trend, and it will really shut down the whole boardwalk, and it'll be ugly if another event happens. So I think we have to do something. I think the retractable ballards, as problematic as they are, I think that in certain locations, I think that it's probably a good idea. I'm going to go against the grain because I think that it is movable. They're not totally unattractive, certainly a lot better than the plastic things that we have out there that are breaking. And I recognize the cost is a lot, but I think that the city needs to recognize, and the city recognizes that it needs to do something, and I'm glad that they're reaching out to us to get our input and for us to discuss it. I've got concerns about the other things down the line, and I think that the city needs to give us more money than what they're proposing and help us to really clean up on a broad base, and I'll touch on some of those things later as we get down to that part of the agenda. But the short answer is I think that the ballards are okay. They do have to really maintain them, and the fire department has the muscle to make the request to make sure that they're maintained for public safety.
Thank you, Carl.
Can I say a point of information? It's just a point of information, it's not a comment. The GPS system says,
We're gonna
GPS
get to
systems
that.
say
You're
that.
gonna have an opportunity to talk about GPS. You got another comment first, and you can comment. I want to resonate what Savon said, which is in a futuristic world where there's endless amounts of money and you can have bollards popping up and down all over the place, that would be amazing. In reality, the first time one of those things fails, when you've got LAFD ripping around the corner of Rose Avenue going 60 miles an hour onto the boardwalk and that bollard fails, it's going to be a real problem. And so I don't believe that the technology is there, that there's the history of electronic bollards in a beachfront atmosphere with sand and salt, two of the most corrosive things that you can have when you get to technology. I don't think we're ready for it. I don't think we can afford it. I also want to resonate what was also said about the fact that what I am impressed with is that the city is willing to spend some money, and so it's up to us to figure out how we're going to capitalize on that. So if it's not electronic bollards, then we've got to also come up with other ideas, which we are going to do tonight. The third point that I want to make is that regarding these electronic bollards, the reason why these are being brought up in addition to fixed bollards, in addition to the other kinds of bollards, is because that's the only idea that's been presented so far at the intersections where there is vehicular traffic crossing the boardwalk, which is the opportunity for somebody to make a wrong turn onto the boardwalk. So it's at those places where cars absolutely have to cross the boardwalk to get into parking lots, and so that's why they're advocating automated bollards at those points. My position is to not move forward with automated bollards, but I do understand the city's position that we're leaving, that they feel like that is exposed for people to being able to turn onto the boardwalk. So we have to put our heads together and come up with other creative ideas, and we're going to have an opportunity to discuss it further in a minute. Linda.
Yeah, as the president, I'm also ex officio member of every committee, so I'm speaking as a committee member. I also don't think the bollards are the answer. I've lived on the beach for 40-something years, and there are occasional cars, tourist cars, that get lost, but there's never been an incident before. It's unlikely this will happen again. If someone wants to kill people, they're going to find a way. So I'm not the hysteria about, putting up the bollards, although I understand the city's need to react and to make it safer there, and that's what we want as well. I too am delighted that there's money on the table, because we've been asking for money forever, and now there's some, and I would agree that we need to capture it and maybe get more and come up with really reasoned suggestions that are viable to make it safer, but not just from a wild car once in 40 years. So I would be opposed to bollards, although I understand at the places where the cars go into the parking lots, there's a really easy way to turn left to get out and go down the boardwalk. They didn't include Washington, which is also a place where people go into the parking lot and can easily turn right or left. So I would hope that the motion would be opposed to this system of automated bollards, but would also recommend further study on ways to improve safety on the boardwalk, which we might come up with, such as, and Brandon mentioned some, but it's not going to be something that we can decide for sure tonight. It's something that we should work in partnership with the city. Okay, what do we as residents who are there all the time feel is going to make it safe for us? And there's a lot of possibilities, but spending $1.2 million on bollards is ridiculous. I'm opposed to it.
Good, thank you. Okay, we're going to just keep moving at a really fast clip tonight because we've got a lot to cover. So we're going to vote. So, we're gonna vote on the item of automated bollards. The Oceanfront Walk Committee will vote, then the, Public Safety Committee will vote, and then the, visitor impact.
You made a motion to start.
Yes.
There's a motion
This
on the
is an
table.
item within the motion.
Point of order, the chairman can't make a motion, someone has to make a motion, has to be a second.
Yeah, there was a second. Who made the
There was
motion?
no
Well, we
motion
made a
made.
motion for the entire,
Tom made-
You need a motion for this
item by item. Okay.
I approved the motion and Savon seconded it.
Who made the motion? Who made the
Out of
motion?
order under Robert's rules because you're the chair.
Yeah. So, okay, just a minute. Who's gonna make the motion about number one?
I make a
I have a
motion
motion, I have a motion that would say the Oceanfront Walk Committee recommends that the DNC board not support automated bowers unless deemed absolutely necessary. Does someone like to change that?
Someone make a second.
Someone on the Oceanfront Walk Committee. Someone on the Oceanfront Walk Committee.
Or no, but what were those last words?
It's the Oceanfront Walk Committee recommends that the DNC board not support automated ballots unless deemed absolutely necessary.
Wait a second.
Wait.
We can change it. Someone else should make it now.
I would leave
Without the
that
final
as-
unless absolutely necessary.
I would leave that
That's the
beyond
Oceanfront
that.
Walk Committee. Is there a second?
At Oceanfront Walk Committee, Public Safety Committee, and Visitor Impact
Okay.
Committee.
We're still looking for a second from the Oceanfront Walk Committee.
The Oceanfront Walk Committee recommends that the DNC board not support automated ballots.
Yes.
We need a second from the Oceanfront Walk Committee. Shelley seconds the motion, thank you. Now we can move to vote on the motion. We can vote on the motion. So all those in favor of the motion? We just did.
Is there discussion on the motion?
No, we consider
You know what, it's a separate motion, there should be discussion, public comment.
Need public comment for the motion. This is the motion.
Let me ask you a question real quick about how we're about to move forward. Are we going to take turns
Yes.
proposing the motion, or are we,
You can put forward the
or are we
same.
going to write a motion as a joint meeting, and then each individual committee votes on that particular motion?
No, you're gonna put forward your motion, and you're going to, and then your committee is gonna vote on your motion. And then the same thing with visitor impact. So we're gonna have three motions from the three committees.
Or as many motions as we make.
That's the way it has to be.
Seems like it's a joint meeting. The
So
bodies-
we're gonna have, we're gonna have, because that's what's required of a joint committee. So we're gonna have a, public comment on the Oceanfront Walk Committee motion to not have ballots. Would, anybody like to make public comment?
Yeah, I would still like to ask the question, where is the criminal?
He's in jail, he's awaiting trial.
This is the point, because no one has questioned me, because I seen it in the beginning. I chased it. And I don't agree with nothing that I've heard so far. So what I see and what's being talked about is a whole other thing. Someone should ask the people who's really there what they seen in the beginning. I chased him. I didn't see him from behind. I didn't see him coming after me. I was behind him. So I seen a whole different thing. So I want to know where is the one that did. That's the question I'm asking. Where's the criminal that they say that did this? And who is he connected to?
Thank you. Any other public
That's
comments
my
on
thought.
automated ballots as regards to Oceanfront Walk Committee?
Yeah, I think, first off, the idea that the city would be liable for the criminal acts of, it's ridiculous. Reality is that all they need to do is put up signs that say, do not enter. How many times have you come to a do not enter and you're to do it? I mean, I've definitely done it a few times, but I'm just saying, I'm thinking we could look both directions before I do. Reality is that in Santa Monica, for instance, you have the old guy who stepped on the gas pedal supposedly and mowed down an entire farmer's market. Now what they do is when it's crowded, as in when it would be a problem, they put police cars and they park them sideways, or they have these big orange plastic things that they slide into position and slide out of position. And that can be done Sunday morning, Saturday morning, or whatever day you want to do it. But the reality is that you don't need bollards there 24 hours a day, because the reality is someone gets lost on the boardwalk, that's a traffic matter, and unless you're saying that what keeps people safe is the fact that there's street and sidewalk and there's no place where there's just street, and of course that's not true. That basically this is a case where this is like a walk street, but the idea that someone could get down a walk street with a car is not, you know, completely foreign, right? We've seen it happen before. So the reality is that you can't be held liable for the criminal acts of another. And in this case, all you need to do is take due precaution, which would be using police cars during crowded times of day.
Thank you.
So, did anyone
Nick, do you have a
say-
public comment?
Yeah.
Not on that, I have a point of order. My question is this, is that the meeting started with accepting the report as is. You asked the committee, the joint committee, to accept this report. And now you're voting on a report you've already accepted piecemeal. So my question is, do you accept the report for the purposes of reviewing it, or did you accept the report based on what it is? And is this a process of revision? Secondly, you have a joint committee set up here. Unless your bylaws state otherwise, there's no reason for 3 votes. You're speaking in a singular voice as a joint committee. So as long as you have a quorum from all 3 committees, there's no need for 3 votes.
I'm just going by what my parliamentary.
No, I understand that, and he's wrong. And he should be here, quite frankly. But the point is this, that in a joint committee situation, like if you have a quorum, there is no need for 3 votes, so I'm correct on that.
Yeah, I believe it, may I comment?
Yes, please.
I think Nick's right, I think we can take 1 vote on it, but it is for purposes of revisions. I think we're planning to go down every item, because not every item is acceptable, but some may be. So we're going to have comment on every item, and so the board, these 3 committees can revise, throw it out, accept it as is, whatever they want, after hearing from the public. But I think he's right, I think it would be okay to take 1 vote for the 3 committees, since it's a joint meeting, and as long, I think it's okay. It's okay, I'm giving you permission.
Can I just, one more thing about that? Because I think since it's a joint meeting, basically we're having a discussion together and trying to make a decision together. Now, at the same time, I think if one particular committee unanimously opposes or agrees on a particular item, then that committee can also
We calculate those
do
votes.
I mean, it's a pretty easy, glance to know, okay, this particular committee is unanimously against this. Then that committee proposes a motion saying that this committee opposes that particular motion as a second item, if that's what you need to do to protect what your committee's position is, so that it's not overrun by the joint meeting. But for most things, I think we need to vote on this item together.
The other thing that complicates it, Nick, is we've got 2 committee members who sit on 2 different committees, and so if they were if one committee was voting one way on one issue and another committee felt another way, that person would be voting sort of against their own interest twice. So that's why we were talking about doing it separately, because Gail and Therese sit on 2 committees.
It just seems
we're gonna vote
My other point is this, not to complicate what seems very complicated, is that you initially said we accept the report.
Yeah.
No, that's okay, Nick, that's okay, that was for purposes of open discussion. And then first, the report is, and then we're gonna go with each item of the regard. It's okay, it's okay.
Yes.
I think it's important, if you've already talked to Ivan, who's our parliamentarian, to do what he said, so that we don't find out after we voted that what we...
It's okay.
The same thing.
It's okay. It's the same thing. It's okay. It's okay.
We're all saying the same thing.
Okay, good. All right, so let's move forward with a vote. We're gonna vote. The entire joint committee is going to vote. Does anybody else have anything else to add in terms of this motion? So the motion is as
The joint committees.
It says the Oceanfront Walk Committee, Public Safety Committee, and Visitor Impact Committee recommend that the VNC board not support our committee ballot.
Yeah, so.
Period.